Okay. Okay, my name is Yuri Landman, as told. Today, I'd like to tell you about how you can use your environment for your own professional development. And I do this to tell the story of my my career, and I hope that applies to your own jobs. And for this, I use a metaphor. I always compare my career with a walk in the forest, where I'm looking for adventure, basically, and I don't know what's going to happen. My path will be rather randomly through the forest, and therefore it's important that I keep my eyes open, and I avoid fear, and I explore the unknown. And let's see. Okay, here we have an overview of my career. I studied to become a chemical analyst, but I had a more artistic ambition, so I became a comic book artist, where I developed a feeling for design, and I trained visual, spatial ability by, how do you say this? Let's skip that. But I have to, yeah, let's skip that one. No problem. Meanwhile, I was a musician, and that's where I learned about sound. And for a few years, I owned a comic book store where I learned trading, and even more important, that's where I learned carpentry, because I had to build closets for the books and shelves. So this coincidence was a very lucky coincidence, because I had a long-term desire to build my own instruments. That's because I'm the most untalented guitar player in the world. And that's okay. First of all, the first question is why would somebody want to build an instrument? Well, there's already the violin and the guitar and the piano, which do a pretty good job. But most instruments are focused on melody and on rhythm, and music in general is consisting out of three components, which is melody, rhythm, and a thing called timbre. And timbre is the difference between the sound of a violin and the sound of a guitar, and the sound of a guitar and a piano, for instance. And I'm specifically focused on the color of sound, and that's why I'm intrigued by musical instruments instead of music. And I'm going too fast. No, this is going. Okay, leave it like here. Like many artists, I get inspired by things I see around me in daily life. And for instance, there was one moment where I was waiting for the train, and I heard it was freezing, so I heard weird sounds coming from the upper cables, and this triggered me to translate this sound to a musical instrument, which is hanging here. The instrument is actually there, and it's mounted to the table there, and this gives the sound. Yes. So we have some noise coming from the lights, so sorry for the sound quality. But let's take the next one. Yes. Okay. So in 10 years, I made a large variety of different instruments, but there was one big problem, and it took me a few months per instrument to build it and finish it. And so I had a capacity problem, and often coincidence lead to solutions. And there was a guy from Belfast who had invited me to talk about my instruments on a festival, and he proposed if I could help him set up a workshop where people could actually build an instrument instead of just listening what I'm doing. And this triggered me to develop an instrument. Basically, it's based on IKEA. It's a pre-assembled kit made out of shitty wood, and there's holes in the wood, and people just have to assemble it with one screwdriver. And after 4 hours, we had 16 copies. So that was a big improvement and a solution for my capacity problem. the workshop became a big hit in Europe and the US, and I'm doing this. I'm traveling all over in all countries to do this workshop, and the instrument building became a job. So I'm very lucky with that one tip from Belfast. Let's see, what is this? Oh yeah, okay. Much of my output is a combination of things, like I said, the walk in the forest, things I see remind me of things I've done in the past. And when I first heard the music of Sonic Youth, I was completely thrilled about their sound. And I saw pictures of Thurston and Lee playing drumsticks. They jammed drumsticks in between the strings, and obviously this is a very aggressive punk rock statement and looks very good on stage. But I also recognize there is a weird ethereal layer in their abrasive noise, and I could connect it with physics. And by connecting those two elements, I could derive a musical scale, and that scale is featured on many of my instruments, and it's based on fractions. So you have half, 1/3, 1/4. Etc. And I will now let you hear. Ooh, where's the plectrum? Is that here? How this sounds. You don't have to have a musical ear for this. What I'm doing is there's a rod, and it's not on one of the lines, but it's off the lines. And you'll hear when it's on the line. All of a sudden the volume becomes very loud. And this is a normal string. Yes, so I'm looking for something beyond normal. Okay. This instrument there. Okay, there is no guitar around here, but you can see it on the picture. I had a guitar backstage, sorry. The guitar has big frets, big spacings between the frets near the headstock, and it goes down to the body, and the frets become smaller, and that's like an equal division. And my scale is irregular, and I was wondering for 10 years why there was no overlap in between the musical scales, because obviously this sounds very good. And I think the guitar sounds not so good, but that's beyond this topic. And one day I realized there's many instruments from other countries outside Europe, and they have weird scales on their necks. So I was thinking, oh, perhaps there's an overlap in between what I'm doing and what is happening in many non-Western cultures. And so I went on the internet searching for all kinds of instruments, and to my big surprise, I stumbled upon this instrument. The next one. Yes, okay, thank you. And this is 4,000 years old. It's from China, and my instrument is exactly the same as the instrument from 4,000 years old. So, yes, thank you. I was a bit late as an inventor, but still. The good thing about this instrument, it's here, obviously, that it sounds very harmonic. That's what I call it, and you can easily hear it. Is this on still? Yes. Yes, that's Chinese, I hope, hopefully. Yes, and what you just heard is very relaxed music, and the reason why it's relaxed is because it's harmony. This is harmonic music, and that's not occurring very much in Western. I think that's more dead music, but and harmony is something special. It's not only occurring in music; it's present in sound in general. And there are great experiments. You can see on YouTube, if you type in resonance, you can see the movie of this image. And this is a black plate sprinkled with salt. There's a speaker underneath it, and it's attached to a tone generator, which creates a certain pitch. And on certain frequencies, these beautiful flower patterns occur, or shell shapes, whatever you might call it. And this is not only occurring in experiments in the laboratories, but it's everywhere in nature. And here you see a collection of all kinds of beautiful images that are very closely related to the laboratory experiments. Especially the turtle is pretty cool because it looks exactly like the oval plates they did experiments on. And the reason I'm so focused on these images is because I'm currently working on this instrument, which I can fold so it fits in my guitar bag. I don't have a driver's license, so that's very important for me. And what I basically want to do is I want to develop this skill on what's on the Chinese instrument, and I want to develop one on this one, which is a blending of the flowers and the Chinese skill. So I understand what I'm doing, because this sounds very good, but I have no idea what I'm doing. Perhaps I can crank up a little bit. Oh, daar staat uit. Yes, so we ended in the harmony again, if you might hear it. Sounds a little bit like a Chinese gong, but it doesn't weigh so much, so it's more economic. There is this one costed me 3 years, which was kind of a problematic thing I had to work out, because it's a very complicated matter to understand which notes occur where. And since this is a crossed string thing, it would square the problem, so it would take me like 3 times, yeah, like 9 years or 16 years perhaps. So I had a problem understanding what I'm doing, and then from, again, the coincidence solved my issue. I saw a beautiful painting by Malevich, an abstract painter 100 years ago, and I realized I could abandon science and just work on intuition and randomly cross strings, just like his paintings. And based on trial and error, I can go into an evolution. So I make one which has good spots and bad spots, and then I make a second one with the good spots, and then went into an evolution. And I'm now that far that I recognize Mondrian shapes in it. And so Mondrian was pretty good. Although he probably didn't even know himself. But the final statement I wanted to close with is I'm enumerizing. I did the train station, the painting by Malevich, the IKEA concept. They don't have, all of them have nothing to do with musical instruments, but they trigger me to develop new stuff in the field of instrument building. And I hope this connects to my metaphor about the walk in the forest. I just go and I see something, and I realize I remember something, and that's creating my route. And I think your goal should be have an exciting life and an exciting career, and therefore you must stay curious, avoid fear, and explore the unknown. Yes?